Wally Wood, and welcome you to another edition of the Revelation File on KBN TV. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that you've been enjoying our series up till now. This will make our episode number 10 in this series. And today we're going to start a new venture into what I call Revelation 13 Revisited. This is a very colorful and controversial chapter. There have been many interpretations of what is in this chapter and what it means. And I thought that what I would do today is put together this multimedia presentation and walk you through the verses and show you how Revelation 13 is what I call the most high-tech chapter in the entire Bible. And as we get started here, this is our copyright statement, because we do have some videos embedded in the program here to show that, again, we are a news and information education type ministry. And we inform the body of Christ of the things that are going on behind the scenes that aren't really necessarily making in the news. And we use a lot of multimedia material. So this is our copyright fair use doctrine, and just to make it official. Revelation 13 Revisited. It's, again, what I call the most high-tech chapter in the entire Bible. Everything in this chapter requires advanced technology to be fulfilled. Definitely a prophetic chapter suitable to the generation of Christ's return. Matthew 24, verses 33 through 34. We use this as our foundational verse in everything we're doing. Jesus said, "So you too, when you see all these things, know that I am near, even at the door. Truly I say to you, that generation that sees these things will not pass away until all has been fulfilled." Everything that Jesus spoke of in his prophetic discourse in Matthew 24 and Luke 21, they would take place in one generation, as he spoke in terms of the last days. And one generation would see it, and that generation would not cease to exist until everything had been fulfilled, which included his return. Revelation 13, verses 1 through 2, opens by saying, "Then I saw a beast coming out of the sea, having 10 horns and 7 heads, and on his horns were 10 diadems, or crowns, and on his heads were blasphemous names. And the beast which I saw was like a leopard, and his feet were like those of a bear, and his mouth like the mouth of a lion." A lot of people get hung up on these symbols, and hopefully we can explain that today. The nations of the leopard in today's day and time include Somalia, Iran, Pakistan, and Rwanda. They are all Muslim nations. The leopard is smaller and swifter than the lion is. Though the lion is more powerful, the leopard is more ferocious. Its killer claws attached to a ferocious destroyer. The all-ferocious leopard alliance is aligned with the monster bear nation that kills and destroys in one swipe of its sharp claws. The bear is the most powerful among the predators. The Muslim leopard alliance connects with the powerful Russian bear as they make their move upon the nations in their region. The mouth of the lion in the vision. The lion is known to be an expert scavenger. Unlike the leopard that attacks through instinct and speed, the lion is a patient strategist by comparison. It watches and waits with skill. That's the description of diplomacy. And the British lion is known throughout its history for this particular skill. Diplomacy is a skill of the mouth. This monster beast has deeply embedded within him the ferociousness of the Muslim leopard, the swift power of an attacking Russian bear, and the deceptive shrewdness of a patient British lion awaiting opportunity to strike. He will be a master negotiator, the likes of which the contemporary world has never seen, because he will know the minds and the cultures of all nations. He will be a marvel. I'm reminded of a movie that came out a long time ago, 1977, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I'm sure that some of you may remember that movie. There were some scenes in that movie that were strikingly prophetic as far as I was concerned. and ties right back into these opening verses of Revelation 13. Watch this. Verse 3, and the whole earth was amazed, and they worshipped the dragon, because he gave his authority to the beast. And these were all scenes from that movie, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Ephesians 2:2 says that Satan is the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now works in the children of disobedience. 2 Corinthians 11:14 says Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light, and his ministers also are transformed as the ministers of righteousness. 2 Thessalonians 2, verses 8 through 12 reads, the coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all power, signs, and lying wonders, and with all unrighteous deception among those who perish, because they did not receive the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this reason God will send them strong delusion, that they should believe the lie. I spent some years working at NASA as a journalist and reporter. I had my own news agency for NASA for a time. I spent a lot of time with engineers, scientists, astronauts, talking to them about NASA, what its plans were, what its goals are, what its purpose is, and came across some very interesting things in their focus and their goal and what they're looking for. Searching for living neighbors in space is their cornerstone. NASA's hunt for life in space. Many scientists believe we are not alone in the universe. It's probable, they say, that life could have arisen on at least some of the billions of planets thought to exist in our galaxy alone, just as it did here on planet Earth. This basic question about our place in the universe is one that may be answered by scientific investigations. Where are the next steps to finding life elsewhere? Now, this is a connection back to chapter 13, verses 1 and 2 and 3, because again, they're going to worship the dragon who gives his power to the beast, the dragon being Satan. And I believe that this is one method that he's going to open the veil to in the very near future. Experts from NASA and its partner institutions addressed this question on July 14, 2014, at a public talk held at NASA headquarters in Washington. They outlined NASA's roadmap to the search for life in the universe, an ongoing journey that involves a number of current and future telescopes. Now, these are quotes taken directly from their website. Matt Mountain, director and Webb telescope scientist at the Space Telescope Science Institute in Baltimore, says, and I quote, "Just imagine the moment when we find potential signatures of life. Imagine the moment when the world wakes up and the human race realizes that its long loneliness in time and space may be over. The possibility we're no longer alone in the universe." Now, again, they'll have the king they deserve. They're looking for aliens. And the opening verses of Revelation 13 suggests that that is possibly going to be the thing that's going to bring about a global reception of this one man who's going to come forth, because the devil will give him his power. This was part of the network that I put together back in the early 80s, mid-80s. I was part of a consortium of companies that formed SpaceMart, and it was an effort to bring about Houston's fourth identity as Space City, USA. And on the right there, you see Shuttle News Service. That was the news service that I co-partnered to start back in the mid-70s, mid-80s. And we had our own radio program. And here you have a picture of me with my partner, and we're covering a space flight. And in the caption there, you'll see Mike Williamson and Wally Wood. So we started the Space Shuttle, or the Shuttle News Service. I went on to then start the Space and Telecom News Bureau, which became the first news bureau for the space program around that same time. in Revelation 13, verses 3 through 4. Again, we see the Bible making reference to alien beings, how they're going to worship the dragon, the devil. People don't normally worship the little red-suited, fork-tailed figure, but he's going to present himself in such a way that everybody will just absolutely receive him. Let me show you something that Josephus wrote in his volume entitled Wars of the Jews, in which he said, and I quote, "Besides these signs, a few days after that feast of unleavened bread, on the 21st day of the month Artemisius, a certain prodigious and incredible phenomenon appeared." Now this was during the war against Jerusalem, the siege of Jerusalem in 70 AD by the Romans. I suppose the account of it would seem to be a fable were it not related by those who saw it, and were not the events that followed it of so considerable a nature as to deserve such signals. For before sunsetting, chariots and troops of soldiers in their armor were seen running about among the clouds and surrounding of cities. Josephus is talking about seeing warriors in the sky over Jerusalem in 70 AD. The month of Artemisius on the Macedonian calendar is March and April. Historically, the siege of Jerusalem by the Romans began in March 70 AD. According to Josephus, it was March 21st, 70 AD. And it ended when the temple's destruction on the 9th of Av, which is August 9th, 70 AD. To back him up, Cornelius Tacitus, who was a Roman historian, senator, consul, and governor, he wrote a book entitled Histories. And in book 5 of his volume, he spoke of this. Upon the fall of Jerusalem to the Romans in 70 AD, quoting, "In the sky appeared a vision of armies in conflict, of glittering armor. A sudden lightning flash from the clouds lit up the temple. The doors of the holy place abruptly opened. A superhuman voice was heard to declare that the gods were leaving it, and in the same instant came the rushing tumult of their departure." Few people placed a sinister interpretation upon this. The majority were convinced that the ancient scriptures of their priests alluded to the present as the very time when the Orient would triumph and from Judea would go forth men destined to rule the world. Men destined to rule the world. Now that was Cornelius Tacitus. Now Josephus made reference to the same thing in the same paragraph that we've quoted earlier by saying, "Moreover, at that feast which we call Pentecost, as the priests were going by night into the inner court of the temple, as their custom was, to perform their sacred ministrations, they said that in the first place they felt a quaking and heard a great noise, and after that they heard a sound as a great multitude saying, 'Let us remove hence.'" End of quote. So both of these historians make reference to not only the embattlements in the sky, but the departing spirits from inside the temple in response to all this activity that was going on. A most unusual history into the warfare in the spirit world that takes place upon the earth. Sounds of a great multitude saying, "Let us remove hence." 1 Corinthians 13:1 says, "In the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses shall every word be established." And here you have your 2 historical witnesses who were alive at the same time reporting the same thing. Verse 7 and 8 read, "And the whole earth was amazed and followed after the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, 'Who is like the beast, and who is able to wage war with him? And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If anyone has an ear, let him hear.'" in these modern, contemporary, sophisticated times of ours? How could it be that the world would ever worship a man as a god, as they did in ancient history? Unless through deception. Consider this feat by world-famous illusionist David Copperfield in this 1983 national telecast before a live audience of making the Statue of Liberty in New York Harbor disappear. To date, it's never been published how he did it, though speculations do abound.
Statue of Liberty, standing 305 feet high and weighing 450,000 pounds. That was going to make her disappear. We constructed 2 scaffolding towers on Liberty Island in front of the statue and had a helicopter to give an aerial view of the illusion.
He does call it an illusion.
Was seated here, 200 feet in front of the statue. A circle of lights surrounds the statue and shines upon it. A curtain would be raised between the towers to hide the statue from view. If I successfully vanished the statue, searchlights would pass through the empty space that was occupied just moments before. We even had radar to show the statue's position. In front of a live audience on Liberty Island, the disappearance of the Statue of Liberty. Right about now, I'm thinking, I hope this works.
If I was home watching on TV, I would be a little skeptical, but I was here, it was there, and now it's not there. I don't know what happened. And
when that curtain went down and there was nothing there, I just couldn't believe it.
your reaction?
I was amazed. Don't you see? It's there, it's not here anymore.
I have never seen a Statue of Liberty disappear the way this one did.
As the audience watched, I brought her back.
I was blown away all the way from Germany. Please welcome magician Simon Piero. I saw something that was on Ellen Tube, I think, but I have not seen what you're doing today. I wanted to be surprised.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, thanks for being here.
So you might be surprised about a couple of things that I found out with the iPad. I don't know if that ever happened to you, but if you go through like this might happen. So if it does so, don't worry. It's not a software problem or anything. This is just more space for your own creativity.
Okay.
So can you see that string?
Yes.
Good.
Right.
Thanks to this string, I stop it, and And I do have access to a whole new set of new apps, all a bit better than the old ones. So thanks to this string, I can actually show you my last 2,000 pictures from my vacation. Don't worry, I won't show you all of them, Alan. I just show you the overview, because that way I can easily print them. Which is fantastic. My parents, they do not have an iPad. So I just put it on a postcard and send it back all the way to Germany. But before I do so, I always make a copy, otherwise the data might get lost. I know this app doesn't make any sense, but it's fun. And I think FaceTime is as well. Let me call a friend of mine. I hope it's ready. That is you.
Yes.
You're here. And hi, Gustav. Can you hear me? Okay, are you ready? Please do your best. I'm at Alan. Okay, right there. Yes? Perfect. So thanks to this straw here, I can easily... Worked well, thank you, yes. And then thanks to this straw, I can share not only music, videos, but also code. It's excellent, but I can also give something back. He doesn't know about that. Some coconut milk from California. 1 second, please. And go, milk is coming. Okay, as you can see, it's still a prototype, but it worked. Please give a hand to Christoph.
Wow.
Alan, this iPad is also very good hiding. I used to hide stuff. For example, for today, I have find it. Well, over here. On the third page, I'm hiding for today an Alan pen. So here we go. Because I'm gonna need that. Second. Please do know that.
Andrew Niccol, producer and director of Simone, The Truman Show, and Gattaca, is on record as saying there are a lot more digital tricks being used today than audiences realize. End of quote.
Jesus said that the deception of those days will be so intense that if it were possible, even the very elect will be deceived. If the world is going to be easily deceived by the strongly deceptive, what's going to keep the elect from falling into that same trap?
Our ability to manufacture fraud now exceeds our ability to detect it.
It's easier to make 100,000 believe with just one.
For the Antichrist to rule the world, he must first be able to control the world. And the only way to control the world is technologically.
Revelation 13, verses 11 through 14 reads, "Then I saw another beast coming out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon. He exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence, and he makes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose fatal wound was healed. He performs great signs, so that even makes fire come down out of heaven to the earth in the presence of men. It deceives those who dwell on the earth because of the signs which was given to him to perform in the presence of the beast." The miracle in the times of the Antichrist and his false prophet at this point is not so much that fire would come down from heaven, but the fact that it would happen upon public, spontaneous command. That could only happen in the modern era of the space program. Now, what you see in this picture is a laser light coming from a satellite, hitting the clouds and creating lightning on the earth. So get ready for part 2. as we close out this particular segment, we have brought focus to the fact that deception is going to be the main operation of the last days. And we are surrounded by the technology that will present it, as you just saw in these clips, that you look at it and you believe that it's true because it's very, very presentable. In Revelation 13, verses 11 through 14, speaks of the next beast, that being the false prophet, but also speak how the fact that he does his great miracles, his power, in the presence of the beast. In fact, it mentions it twice as he deceives the world in the presence of the beast. What's that mean? Twice we're told that the false prophet has both authority and power to perform great and mighty signs in the presence of the beast. This suggests that outside the presence of the beast, he does not have his power. Therefore, his power is merely technological, not supernatural, as many will believe it to be. His power is theoretical, not actual. It was given to him to give breath to an image of the beast, so that the image of the beast would even speak and cause as many as who do not worship the image of the beast to be killed. Please note, twice thus far the chapter has told us that the world will worship the beast. In this passage, however, we're told that they will worship the image of the beast. People tend not to change their God so quickly unless they've been deceived. We're also told in this passage that the image of the beast will kill those who do not worship the image. How will you know, in a world of 7.5 billion souls, who's worshiping him and who's not? Unless. And that's where we will go into our next segment and our next program, is how he's going to be able to pull off this remarkable feat of finding out who's worshiping him and who's not. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Wally Wood. Our information is coming up. We'll see you next time.
You have been watching the Revelation File Report with Wally Wood, a Wally Wood Ministries production from Houston, Texas. You are able to support the ministry by donating at wallywoodministries.com and by mail at Wally Wood Ministries, P.O. Box 42005, Houston, Texas 77242. Wally is available to present full 2-hour forums in your city called the Revelation File News Forum. For more details, contact Andy Valadez at 713-560-3348 or by email at andy@andyvaladez.com. The Revelation File News Report is a weekly update of global trends in the news as it aligns with end-time Bible prophecy. Tune in again next time and be sure to like and share this channel.